Thank you, American lady. Right, while he's off camera, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to this edition of the Halcyon Show. First, we're outdoors today, or at least half of us is, because we are going to be speaking to someone that you might imagine is just like you, but rest assured, unlike you, he is a veteran rap artist, a venerated music producer, a veracious content creator, and a viciously talented battler. Appearing in over 80 battles over 2 decades, he is the host and founder of the Professor Banner TV YouTube channel. But despite his moniker, he is not my mum's favourite battle rapper. That honour, dubious or otherwise, goes to MC Hammer. But despite that fact, he's been there, and the same me as he always was. Today, we put his loyalty to lyricism to the test, and his status as a linchpin of the UK battle rap scene under scrutiny because he's on my turf. And it's time to see if he can handle the pressure or if he's about to fly right off. Without further ado, let's welcome the indelibly talented, the irrefutably experienced, and the incredibly hulkish Professor Banner is in the house. Sir.
Thank you. I feel like if there was people here, they would have gave a round of applause for that intro.
I try. Do you feel adulated? Do you feel sufficiently hyped for this conversation that we're about to have?
Definitely.
You should, because the last time you and I spoke was outside of a corner shop in Camden, and the conversation was getting too detailed. And you said, look, no. Let's do this another time. And I said, when? And you said now, and now we're here. So the first question I've got to ask you, and it's the one I'm most curious about, because like I mentioned, you've been doing this for a while, man, nearly 20 years. As far as battling is concerned, specifically music making, not so much, a bit longer than that. We'll come on to that. First question I have is why? Why are you still going? A lot of guys are turning it in. A lot of guys are thinking, not for me anymore. The reps are too, whatever. They've got their reasons. You still seem as passionate, as driven, as motivated as ever. Why?
Because those people that you mentioned, I feel like they started it for the wrong reasons anyway. You have to remember, a lot of people have stopped battling because they've all of a sudden got a decent job that they need to focus on, or they've got kids they need to focus on. I started battling at 24 years old with 2 kids. I was an operations manager in my job. So I haven't it's like there's not kind of some big life event that's made me go, oh, I need to stop battling now. Do you know what I mean? So and I feel like I went through a lot of big life events before I started battling, and I kind of grew up quite young. So yeah, and I think, again, like I said, doing it for the right reasons. A lot of the battles I take is for the opportunity to be in certain places at certain times. If someone wants to shout me and say, come Ireland, we'll pay for your trip, I'm going to battle. If someone says, look, you can go to this festival and battle on the stage where Busta Rhymes is performing, I'm going to go battle. So kind of just like no-brainers really. But yeah, it isn't as I'm not as on it as I was, I'll be honest. And I think, when I first started, Don't Flop, I always felt that I was overlooked when I first started on Don't Flop. I tried out on the same day as Euphorical and Quill, and early on I always sent like diss tracks for them because I wanted to battle them, because I felt they tried out on the same day as me, but they after that got way more opportunities than me, way better opportunities than me. So I always felt overlooked, and I realized early on in Don't Flop it was about who you're mates with more. I'm not saying that I was the greatest or I was as good as maybe some of the people that I might have thought I was at the time. That's all opinions, but I do think that I was better than some people that were getting better opportunities than me, basically. So I think now, if I would have been, so I'll give you an example. Raka was rebooked to battle me kind of recently, about a year ago, and he said he didn't want to do it because he can't bring himself to battle at the moment, don't think he can write well enough, etc. Now Cracker had a good development in terms of Don't Flop. He got Marlowe, he had C Major as his 2-on-2 partner. He had a good run. So Cracker from there to now would be legend status. Cracker now is the kind of would-be legend. It's what would have happened if he would have carried on, what would have happened if he would have took these battles and them battles. I never had that opportunity for the development that Cracker had. So if I had that now, I would be at a position where I'll be all over it. Like, who am I battling next? Like, I must have, had that development to be able to feel hungry enough to start going through the top tiers, where I lacked a lot of development early. I just always settled for mid-tier opponents, and then it just took my hunger out of it a lot, really. That's the truth. My last battle I did versus Crashes on 300 views on No Loose Chat. Who the fuck wants to write for weeks to get 300 views, bro?
The question becomes then, man, what is battle rap to you now then? Because I mean, I've looked into your battles, I've looked into a lot of your music. I've also seen a lot of what people say about you in terms of your disposition as an artist. It's not an accolade people give to you as sort of a fake thing. There's a realness to a lot of the stuff that you talk about when you perform rap. There's a lot of realness in the fucking shit that you're saying on stage. But what is it to you? What, as an outlet or a way of expressing yourself, what does battle rap allow you to do that you can't in music or in production or in other ventures? Like, you've got other stuff going on, but why do you come back to battle rap to do what you want to do?
I'll be honest, I think I made a post yesterday and with a clip of one of my bars against Matter. And it was like the whole room kind of like literally belly laughing, nearly falling over. And I suppose that kind of dopamine hit you don't get from anything else. I don't even think, like, unless you're a big level artist like, say, Eminem or Drake, where you've got the whole flipping crowd chanting you lyric for lyric, like, you don't go to just sort of underground rappers shows and the crowd are going absolutely ballistic. They're just nodding their heads, drinking their drinks, waving a hand here and there. But in a battle rap pit or a battle rap stage, when you can get hundreds or however many people, like when I freestyled at South Facing Festival against Lady Shocker, there's probably about 1,000 people in the crowd. The fact that I could even hear the reaction over the speakers made me think, oh shit. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think definitely shit, like things like that. That's why I said I still do it depending on the opportunity and how it's going to make me feel. It's not necessarily about money. It's more about the opportunities that I get from it, really.
Speaking of that, BT Dubs, me and Hulk had a conversation off camera. It was funny. I didn't record it. We'll admit it, but we'll dive into the kind of the nub of it, which is, what's your take then on Premier Battles' decision to kind of bring a tournament but treat it like it's a pre-produced television show and release it in segments, showcasing people like yourself who maybe haven't had that spotlight or that traction, that rocket strapped to them and said, right, off you go. What do you think about it? How do you feel about it as an opportunity for you to kind of go, right, I've got an opportunity to test my metal against people that maybe people wouldn't put me up against, but it's all about me now. It's all about how far I can go, how far I can showcase myself and put the spot on me to say, look, this is what I do. Fucking don't pay attention to anyone else. Pay attention to me and what I'm saying. What do you think?
I think it's a good opportunity. You have to remember, like, look at it like this, yeah. There's people in Big Brother, Love Island, etc., who don't win the actual thing, but end up famous off of it because people took to them, innit? So I think any battler, they can, like you said, the spotlight's on them. So they can stand out and not make it just about the battles, but more about selling their character. One thing I always say is a lot of battlers, and I'll give my advice to anyone that wants to listen. If they don't want to listen, fair play. Not anyone special to be giving people advice. But what I will say is, like, I've come up, like, technically underneath in terms of a battle rapper's popularity and stuff. I've come up underneath the likes of Big J, Yunnan, as I mentioned before, Cracker, the list goes on. But I don't think hardly any of them have really monetized or utilized the platform that they had. So they were all getting 100,000 view battles. I don't have a battle on 100,000 views, but I have a monetized YouTube channel. I have a name, I have a relevancy in my own way. So I think if I had their platform and their hundreds of thousands of views, my channel would be massive. My merch would be popping. So I say, like, again, while you've got this opportunity, if you do start blowing up from something like this, use it. Start having your merch there ready. Start having your own YouTube channel ready to go. At the end of the day, everyone's seen history of everyone feeling happy to go on Don't Flop because it was the biggest urban culture YouTube channel, and everyone was begging and dying and ready to sell their land to go on Don't Flop. Fast forward a few years, I don't pay us, greedy, this, that, but you were literally begging to get on the platform. So, it can all happen again. Not to say that Premier Battles aren't trying to do things differently, and I respect them for that. But, everything can fall apart at any minute. So I think as an individual battler, you need to remember that and keep your branding as your branding. And that's it. Like, from some people know me from King of the Ronald. Some people know me as Professor Banner. But even that, I've gone and done, like, shows, loads of different shows. I've got a song coming out with Shotty on the 1st of August. So again, I'm doing stuff outside of just battling that's going to keep my name and keep my pocket somewhat slightly lined. You know, I'm doing the interviews again. I've got a viral interview. You know, so it's just do more around the battler. Sell that character, I think, because you can't just be a battler just to be popular. Really, I don't think.
I think also you've got to have a confidence and an attitude and a swagger. I point to a tweet of yours on the 30th of May. At this point in my life, I don't think anyone under 25 could beat me in a rap battle, a cappella or on beat. Experience is everything in this game, and I wholeheartedly stand by that. So that's why I take issue with this idea of, you know, like, I'm not one to give it. Mate, you've done nearly 80 battles over a period of time.
I've done more than 80 battles.
There you go.
A lot of them ain't been online. I've done probably over 100.
So there's stuff that you don't even, like you said, you don't even get to capitalize on because there was only a live element to it, or it's since been whatever, right? So, but that experience is indelible unless it's not heeded. If battlers are just doing what they think and they're not heeding the experience of things, that's a mistake that they're going to keep making. So my question to you is, you've kind of made a focal point of your channel showcasing battle rap, but not only that, you're showcasing new guys, you're interviewing new guys, you're interviewing guys that are on the come up, that are getting a bit of momentum. How do you feel about being someone that is kind of, like, I look to you for that. I know a lot of other people look to you for that, like, right, well, what does he think about this guy? Or what do you think about the scene at the moment? Or what do you think about this event? How do you feel about being someone that within the culture of battle rap, people still turn to and go, well, let me get a temperature of things by listening to what he says? What do you think about that?
It's not easy, but you got to be real, because you got to look at it like this, yeah? I'm cool with Quill, for example. Me and him are boys. But then Quill might put in a weak performance, just to say, I'm not saying he has, but he might put in a weak performance. I'm going to speak on it. But hopefully, Quill still respects me after that. Might have a little disagreement or whatever. But I think not everyone can do it in a way that I do it, because I will speak on it. I've had arguments with Shotty. I've criticised Tony D's bars. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's not to say that I'm better than them, but I'm going to speak on it as a fan, as a journalistic point of view. I'm going to speak on it. And when you're battling, you're limited. Remember, loads of people want to be in the circles, and it's about who you know, not what you know, and the friendship groups, and who's going to give you the opportunity. So a lot of people don't want to piss each other off. But for me personally, I don't really care about pissing people off. If I have an opinion, I'm going to say it, and hopefully they're man enough to accept my opinion. But yeah, I think it's definitely hard, and it's rewarding at the same time, because again, you know, in the UK, battle rap is small. I think we need way more. I think I said this to you before, you know, I think we need way more media. We need, like, in America, you're going to see 8 different YouTubers at a battle rap event, all catching interviews, all going home to do a recap. You know, in the UK, you're going to see 2 or 3 at tops, sometimes none. And it's like, yeah, it's just, there's no, and I think that builds it all up. Again, you might get 1,000 views on a battle, whereas if you've got 10 vloggers who are reviewing the battle or recapping the battle, whatever, it might add to another 1,000 views. You never know, you know, and it always just means a lot more to me than I think people realize.
What is missing then in terms of not necessarily the wider scope of battle rap, but in your mind, right? If you put your experience into a younger you in this era, what are things that you're doing that no one else is doing that you think you do to capitalize on your energy, your ability, your skills? What's the X factor that you think is missing in what you would do if you had the time, money, energy, and like, right, I'm gonna get a jump on everybody and do this. I know this is something that no one else is fucking doing, and I'm gonna exploit it to maximize the impact I make. What, if anything, to your mind, what do you think?
I definitely think so. Again, with American battle rap, yeah, they started off with, like, the Smack DVD, for example. If you look at the Smack DVD, it was like J Mills, Murder Mook. These were guys that, it was P. Diddy and them guys who were looking to sign them, getting them to battle to see who's the best. And battling was always about, like, getting a deal, getting that opportunity. And I think when it became like its own platform, like, this is the URL, this is Don't Flop, it changed slightly. But in America, they always kept it somewhat rappers who were on the cusp of a good status anyway. You know, they were already good rappers, well known, but now they're going to try out battling. And that's what, like, you know, Team Homie and people, like all of those guys from Team Homie were known as rappers before they started battle rapping. That's what we're missing, I think. And if we could get, like, I don't know, because again, I think when Don't Flop started, there was a divide. Again, I don't know if you know about much of the history of that, but a lot of the, like, high focus and, like, the boom bap kind of guys from UK hip hop were, like, F don't flop, this ain't real hip hop, this is shit. There was beefs, there was threats, there was sabotages, all sorts. So we never got, if we started off with like Jest and Dirty Dyke and all of these guys regularly battling on Don't Flop, that would have made the next up and coming rapper want to battle as well. And then the next up and coming rapper would look up to them and want to battle as well. We've never had that. We got to like Stigger the Dump, Asher D kind of, and then it stopped, you know, Professor Green, and then it stopped and no one else became celebrities and no kind of celebrity potential people came through. I suppose the last person was like Bruce E, but again, he stopped. You know, Shotty got signed and stopped. So it's like there's no one there to continue it, to pass the torch with any kind of celebrity flavor to it, I think. Like personally, I would like to get rappers to battle, whether it's on the level of like what Skepta's doing right now is ridiculous, because Skepta's saying he wants to clash Americans. I've come Premier Battles, come Pen Game, come Don't Flop. There's loads of clashes here for you now, bro. Do you know what I mean? But you're doing these random pull-ups.
We're going to pause for a second because again, this is a first. I did a game show once outside. I recorded all of my shit outside in the rain. It was funny with things, but recording outside is interesting because again, like Hulk don't wait for no man. Like I don't know what to say. He's like, do you want your fucking interview? You do it outside, bitch. And I was like, all right, okay, all right, I'm sorry. No, he didn't really do that. I'm only joking with it. You only lightly threatened me, if memory serves. I'm a big deal. Get your fucking shit together. I think those were your words. I might be wrong. I can't remember. I remember
that's always been my attitude of battle rap. There's been a lot of people who they can't battle because, like, Sean O'Mac said he couldn't make it to a battle because someone dumped a cat on his doorstep.
Well, okay, let me interject something and see what you think. Okay, and this is as a fan's perspective versus someone that's got some proper skin in the game. The thing that always I come back to with my first experience at a live event was the lack of mystique. I could not believe that I could walk up to a battler at an event and just say hi. I thought it'd be like a music show where you walk up and it's like, no. Crowd's over here, mate. You got to stay over here with the rest of the fucking paying customers. The battlers all go here. Maybe there's a meet and greet afterwards. Maybe they'll take a selfie with you. Like, as much as it harms the experience for me as a fan now that I've gotten used to that intimacy, I gotta see more mystique from you. If you're a battler, I gotta see you exhibiting some fucking star quality before you demand me to treat you like a star.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Definitely, and that's what I liked about events like the last Don't Flop birthday event. I feel like I didn't see Arsenal, Big K, or anyone outside until the very end of the event, and they were in the green room the whole time. And I felt like that was good. I was almost thinking like, because again, I could go back there if I wanted to, but I didn't. I stayed in the crowd, and I enjoy that. I think that they need more of that, you know, stay back there. Don't be out here chatting with every Tom, Dick and Harry, you know, and then you could do meet and greets and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? You could literally capitalize off it more. But I think, again, yeah, you're right. Battle rap I think the problem with UK battle rap is that we all just have regular jobs, don't we? So, you know, I mean, we're not like, it's not like we are just rappers for a living, innit? I suppose that would be different. Like someone like Arsenal, I feel like he's a rapper for a living, so he's got to act like it. We don't know how to act because we're not actually rappers, are we? We're flipping bus drivers or social workers or whatever the flip we are.
I'm just saying, man, I'm not hating on this when I see it, but when I see people literally at work streaming in a live spaces like with the logo of their company on, like, yeah, and fuck that guy and fuck this guy. What's that? Yeah, it's on the shelf behind you. Okay. Anyways, it just kills the gimmick. It kills the idea that this is someone I'm paying to see. This is someone that I'm following. I'm investing in. If it were you, okay, again, I'm putting you in charge. Tomorrow, Professor Banner fucking live show. They've got 1 million subscribers. What are some of the things that you do to make sure your roster is as venerated as possible? What do you do to you as well, as a promoter, as a performer, whatever it is? How do you restore that mystique in order to sell it to people to say, no, you're not just wandering, you've got to pay to see this. And even then, you've got to fight, kick and scream to get a ticket to this. You can't just, we're not giving tickets away. There's no freebies anymore. What do you do to restore that?
So like, an idea would be, so again, if for example, this tournament, if it's being filmed like a sort of reality show kind of thing, I would hope they got a wardrobe. Not that I would want or need the wardrobe, but, you know, again, everyone's got to look the part. There's no point me having a outfit on and the lighting's all on point and everyone's looking fresh, and then my opponent shows up with holes in his trainers and stuff. Like, it's just not gonna fill that image, is it? Again, it might do on the contrast, but it's not gonna give you that feeling that you're looking for, that elusiveness, that, oh, who is this guy? He's the mystique, you know. I also think, like, again, there's got to be a way. I think, again, yeah, because even that, yeah, the cooler we get the back, people always say, oh, we need more women in battle rap or UK battle rap. The cooler we get the battlers, the more women are going to want to come and be involved. If you keep making the battlers look like idiots and keep having trampy, smelly battlers, women don't want to gravitate towards it. It makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So things like that, I do just think it's about that branding consistency, innit? You know, like I said, if I was running events and I had the budget, I'd have a wardrobe at every event and say, yo, come look, wear this hat instead. And most of the time you're going to get paid off it somehow by a sponsor and stuff anyway. So, you know, it'd be worthwhile to do. But there's loads of different things, loads of different ways. Like I said, it's just making it look cooler. It's making everything look cooler. At the moment, again, for me personally, the reason why I'm not too keen on battling anymore, I do it for the fun. I don't chase it, because I look at it like this. If I'm the main demographic that's really going to take battling off, which is like the age group that watch Pen Game, is probably under 21s, like 15 to 21s, maybe 24s. Now, if you're looking at a 16-year-old, he's looking up to someone who's cool. That someone's got to be around 23, 24. He's not looking up to me. I'm 38. I'm uncool. Do you get me? I'm literally uncool and I'm uncool. So it's like, it's not, I'm not the person that they're going to look and be like, yeah, I want to be like that guy. I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to be. But we need to put those guys in the forefront, the young, cool 24-year-old who's got the fire bars, the great image, put him at the forefront, and the older heads step back. Me, O'Shea, flipping, so many people have just been battling to fill the void for too long because people have asked us to, and leagues keep trying to book us. But really, we shouldn't be battling as much. We should be hosting, we should be organizing, we should be giving the younger, more cooler, more appealing people the chance to shine, in my opinion.
What would be your preferred career path with it? Because look, I think it would be hard for me to think that Prem start this tournament with the idea of just shifting everyone over a certain demographic. Right, okay, thank you for your service, but you're out. And it would be a waste. There's guys like you who have got so much experience, but also a character, a certain charisma that could be sort of transferred to a certain degree to a new talent pool via the way you promote them, the way you produce them, the way you direct them, whatever it is. If you could chart a course for you, assuming that this tournament is a success, okay, I'm assuming that you're going to walk it and win the title and all the rest of that sort of jazz. But in the very small chance that you don't, okay, what is your plan? Like, what, not plan, but like, what would you want to carve out for yourself as a? Assuming that it blows up, assuming that something catches fire on the short and suddenly bang, Premier's off to the races, and they say, right, Hulk, we want you involved. What do you say? Right, I'd do it, but this is what I want to do. I don't want to be at the forefront battling every week, but I do want to do this. What would that be?
I don't really know, you know. I think that's one of my problems, innit? I've got like some sort of creative ADHD, where I do a little bit of everything kind of thing. So I make beats, but then, you know, I'll have an unfinished beat and then I'll start writing lyrics and then I'll just start trying to design some graphic or whatever, like, just so,
Preach.
I don't know.
I love it. So again, most creative people have some degree of that. Who are you talking to? But look, I see you, right, as the prime example of that more stone-faced pundit almost. You know what I mean? The kind of guy that you turn to and you go, right, he knows what he's talking about. And he's talking 100% sense. Then you cut to the loud, bombastic fucker that just goes, oh, why don't we just set everything on fire? And you're like, well, you could do that. Or you could do the thing that would work. Or this guy's got it because of this reason. Like, do you not see yourself as more that sort of... Because again, you kind of do that on your channel for me. You're the guy that kind of holds it all together when the chats are kind of going crazy on the podcast section. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think... But again, it's just, I don't know, it's just my natural, the way I think, again, I think I've learned a lot in battle rap in terms of relationship building. And I've not always done it the best, and I've not always done it, you know, the worst, but I've learned a lot about it. And I think now I'm at a good place in terms of relationships. Like, again, when I first joined Don't Flop, didn't like me and I didn't particularly like him, you know, and him, Kruger, Bagnall, Mickey, they were the circle. They decided what was what, who got the battles, etc. And I was on the outside of that. And I used to roll with Big J and Lefty, and they kind of liked Big J and Lefty, but wasn't sure about me. And, you know, that's cool, whatever. But again, I think each organization needs someone who's approachable enough to make people feel included as well. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, again, after a couple of months when they've got Mr. 13 running events, now he's going to hit me up to book me for a battle. Up until I went on to KOTR, never booked me for a battle. It was always Mr. 13 or Bamela. So again, that kind of spoke to me, because I would message Big J and Lefty and them man and say, yo, come battle on this event, come battle on that event. Then I'd get a message off Mr. 13, like, do you want to battle on this separate event? So it was always kind of, again, separate. And I think that when I never, like I said, I don't feel like I got, so even now people say, why did you set this person up? It's a mismatch, you threw them in the deep end. But I get people who say, oh, I'm the best, I'm sick, I'm gonna body everyone. A prime example, Seven Wave said that he bodied Zen, he was the best, he was the coldest, he got beat by Doberman, and that was that. But he come back and he said, you know what, I'm gonna show you what I'm really about, I messed up, cool, I'm here for it, come, let's keep developing. Whereas if that was the old Don't Flop days, they would have just said, he said he was going to beat Zen, he lost to Doberman, piss off, we're not booking him again. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think the development is definitely needed, and I think that's good about the Premier Academy, you know, the academy. But again, the problem is you get kicked out of the academy, where's your development after that? You know, so it needs to be a consistent thing, not just tournaments. Like Norbs, I think URL got to where I think everyone knows that URL got to where URL was a lot to do with Norbs, who was the talent scout, who had the relationship building, who nurtured relationships with battlers, albeit he ended up sleeping with battlers' girlfriends, etc. But, you know, I think a lot of the development of the league and the battlers that were brought onto the league and the way they carried on coming to battle for the league was a lot to do with Norbs. And we've never had a Norbs in the UK, I don't think.
One battle rap related question left for me for now. And I want you to just give me the benefit of your experience and hindsight with this question, because I don't think the scene needed to end up in this place where it's effectively trying to have a hard reboot. Many of the main promotions are trying to effectively pull a left turn and try and, you know, regain some traction in various forms. What's the biggest what if in the last 10, 15 years in the UK battle rap scene? What's in your mind, one of the bigger things that if, right, it went this way, if it had just gone this way, things would be different. Things would be better, maybe, but just in a slightly different position. What's the most, in your mind, what's the biggest what if?
I think it's everyone's. I think it's the biggest, obvious one. I don't even think it's speculation. I think it's a fact. Obviously, the fallout between Bagnall, Kruger, and you know, what if those guys never fell out? What if didn't owe them money or whatever the case was to make them fall out? Where would the next step be? Because again, Don't Flop was bigger than SBTV and stuff at one point, you know, and it was the biggest urban UK battle rap platform. So what, you know, and again, you know, now when you look at it, you've got Kruger, who's the main editor for Sidemen. So what if he was still running Don't Flop and had those links and connections and now started getting Sidemen involved in Don't Flop? Again, now you're talking what America do when you get Method Man at the URL events, when you get Drake at the King of the Dot events, but you get KSI at Don't Flop. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a no-brainer, innit? And then you've got Bagnall, like he's gone on to do so much, videography stuff and work with different people and do different stuff. Poker Stars, he filmed like Poker Stars tournaments in the Bahamas and stuff like that. Imagine having a warm-up battle or live on TV in the pokers. Like, but you can only link those things together when you're all together and you're all in these different places working together as a collective for what you believe is the greater good of a cause that you love. But now everyone's separate doing their own thing. I think there's so much potential for these things to get roped into battle rap. But, you know, like big up Kruger, he's responsible for a lot of the Guess the Rapper content, which you've seen, like Pedro and Gemini and all of those guys in. So again, he's still there trying to do that, and I big that up. But again, imagine it was, still actually part of Dope Flop, and it was Dope Flop branded, featuring Heady One and these guys, Guess the Rapper. That would be massive for the UK battle rap scene and put eyes on it so much more. So that's the biggest what if, really. What if and Kruger never broke up, basically?
I could ask you literally 1,000 battle rap questions, but this isn't a battle rap interview. This is a Hulk interview, which means I do have to do something I fucking hate doing, which is ask a really fucking cliche question, which is, how did you get into music and how did you get into rapping? Like, what was the maybe not the sort of the allure of it. What was the catalyst? What was a moment in time where you remember being like, do you know what? That looks pretty fucking cool. I want to do it. Or this allows me to express myself. I want to do it. Do you recall when that was?
Not really. I don't think there was really a moment. I just from young I grew up in the 90s, so it was a lot of cassette players and CD players, and we'd have like a double cassette player where you can like press play on one cassette and record on the blank cassette, and then you'd have a karaoke mic that you'd plug in. So that was us. Like, my cousin was like a garage DJ, so we'd get tapes of him just mixing tunes together. We'd record over it, our tape, with us MCing over it with the mic and stuff. So yeah, it just kind of became natural. And then again, it was similar to battle now. Like I said, in a sense of, I'm not out here chasing battles. It's usually me getting contacted and asking. Yeah, like I was saying with battles, I don't really like pursue battles as much, but it's always like when you're young, like from being 13 years old and you're one of your only mates that raps or that can rap, people are always like, yeah, my mate can rap, rap for them. Oh, I've heard you can rap for me. So a lot of the time, even like all of my early music wasn't me saying I'm gonna pay and go to the studio to record. It was meeting someone who records music and saying, come to my house and record, come to my studio and record, please come round and record. So all of my early music basically was just out of convenience, kind of just like serendipity or whatever it is. I don't know how to describe it, but it was just coincidence. It wasn't like planned or like me trying to pursue it in a certain way. I never spent money on videos and studio and stuff until like a lot later on in life. So, and even that I still don't. I just bought it all myself and just do it all myself.
So my question was going to be, because I like you, fancy myself as a bit of a creative, never musically. Sadly, I learned how to play the drums when I was a kid and never learned how to do anything else. But like, I have certain processes that I just employ when I'm going about a project. I'd like, right, what's the concept? How can I execute it? Repeat, final product, release it, and then I just hope no one ever fucking sees it, because I can't take the idea that people fucking hate it. What's your process when it comes to producing, writing, performing music? Like, what hits you as inspiration, or what hits you as that, man, I want to make this, or I want to do this? What goes through your mind when you're making that stuff?
I can't really explain that, It's just again, I don't force myself. The thing is, if I book a battle and it's a month away, like I'll be walking down the street and I'll think of like a punchline and then I'll just jot it down, and then yeah, later on I'll think of another one and I'll jot it down, and then the next day I'll think of another two and jot them down, and then I'll just start trying to build them together at some point. But I don't sit down like, right now I'm going to start writing these 3 rounds for this person. For me, that's forcing the creativity that I can't do, and that's when it ends up being bad. So like, I wake up day after day just thinking I can't bother to make a beat, and then one day I just really feel like making a beat, and I'm just going to make 3 beats today. Like, there's never really a consistency.
Well, then in that case, compare and contrast to me when you're making something for you. Like, again, whatever happens that gets you in the moment, gets you going, with working with other artists. Like, again, you referenced it. Shotty Horror and Bobby Rex absolutely smoked this track. Mixtape dropping soon. That was announced on the 25th of June. I saw the graphic. It looks dope as fuck. Compare and contrast, like, how do you have to tailor yourself to working and collaborating with other people versus stuff that you're making that you just think, right, I think this is sick and I want to release this?
Again, it's natural. So even with the track with like Shotty and Bobby, I was planning on going and doing a track with Shotty. I shouted Bobby to let him know, like, because I'm boys with him, and I was like, I always shout Bobby when I'm in Manchester, innit? So I just letting him know. He was like, yeah, he's gonna come studio. And then I had like a USB of some beats, so I let Shotty like flip through all the beats, and I told him just like pick a beat that you like, and because they're all my beats, so I'm obviously gonna like them all really. So he picked a beat, and then we always like this. I think I said this reminds me of the Big Pun and Noriega song, I Came Up, and then because it's got like a jazzy kind of saxophone kind of sound, and we was all like, yeah. And I know me and Bobby, we've always said Big Pun's our favorite rapper, and I think Shotty said, you know, he's one of his as well. And we were talking about the track, and then like the original track that we were talking about goes, I came up, what, making it happen, from rapping on the corner to possibly going platinum. So on the chorus, I just said, I just did what, scream what. So I did like a play on that. And then all of us started our verses with I came up. So again, it was just natural. Like, that's how I like to, if we'll sit there, we'll have a chat like, yo, this sounds like this kind of song. Yeah, this sounds like a summer song. Yeah, this sounds like that kind of song. Let's do this on it. How about we all start it by saying this opening phrase? You know, it's just, again, like I said, it's relationship building. You don't know that when you're young and you want to be like, no, right, everyone, we've got to do this, and you're all doing this, and you all listen to me. It just depends who you are. But for me, I've always got the same process. I sit with loads of random people. I could sit with you and we'd say, like, let's pick a beat that we like. We're going to come to an agreement eventually on a beat that we like. We're going to get a topic, right? You write your bit, I'll write my bit, and we record it. It's not rocket science.
Let me ask you a question then. Are you married to a certain genre of music then? Or would you be, as a music producer and a writer, are you ever tempted to explore other genres, or maybe look into different influences outside of your sphere? Like, because I know as a creator, I can be guilty of sometimes being not complacent, but certainly like I have my wheelhouse and I'll experiment within that wheelhouse, but then you hear something that's completely outside of it and you either reject it or it just fucking shifts your worldview. How do you interject what you've learned, seen, heard into what you do, and how do you go about keeping it fresh in your own mind?
If I'm completely honest with you, hip-hop was my first love as a genre, but as I got into my late teens, it was mostly R&B and soul. And then in my 20s and probably, early 30s, it was mostly reggae. So, I would say like I've got quite an eclectic taste. Again, I think things like spending time in prison and stuff does that as well, when you've got limited variety of CDs and stuff to listen to, and you end up borrowing CDs and listening to stuff you didn't think you'd listen to. I'm mixed race, but I've got a white mum and a white stepdad. So again, there's black influence, there's white influence, it's always been quite, I've always proudly said, like, when I was in like year 5, year 6, I think the Spice Girls was amazing. Don't give a shit. You know, and I still think some of their tunes are bangers till this day. So like, that's, but I think I have made like garagey songs. I've made like poppy rock songs, but I haven't really released any. I've obviously released rap music, but I've done, like, I'd like to do more, but again, I think it would just come naturally. That's what I always say when people say you should do this, you should do that. I can't explain why or when, but when it feels natural, it will be natural.
It feels like a tortured fucking pun to ask it this way, but fuck it, I felt clever for thinking of it, so I'm going to. Given your moniker is Hulk, I think it's fair to ask about the end game. Do you see what I did there? I'm clever, I promise. What is your ultimate ambition? What's your ultimate goal that you'd like to achieve with everything that you've accumulated in terms of your experience, all of the accolades you've garnered, all of the people you've met, the connections you've made, and all of the sort of the road you've traveled? But what would you like, right, even at this point, this is where I am, that's where I want to be one day, and I know I can get there. What is that to you?
You know what, my battery's dying, so this might have to be the last one.
End on a high note, man. And leave them wanting more.
I'll be honest with you. I don't really have like a big creative ambition. I used to say that I want to just do, media and creativeness as a full-time job that pays me. But again, I don't even know if I'd want to do that because, like I said, I like making beats when I feel like making a beat. Whereas if you tell me I've got to wake up from 9 to 5 and make beats, I'll probably hate making beats. So it's I don't wish that on myself. But in terms of life in general, my career since 2011-12 has been mostly in employability and personal development, helping people get into employment. So like in terms of my life, I want to keep increasing the impact that I have on people. At the moment, I work for like local government. Obviously, I'm not going to say which council, but it's a great opportunity for me to. I grew up getting in loads of trouble and missing opportunities. So now I'm in a position where I can help people with opportunities. And I feel like as a human being, I think you do feel more satisfaction contributing to your society. Like you can be a millionaire trader and just piss off with all your money. But for me, I find gratification in walking past someone that I've helped get a job in, just being that guy that people can say, that guy's a good guy. That guy helped me. That guy's about, go to him for help. Go to that guy. And, again, I've probably, ballpark kind of figures, I've probably helped, supported over like 5,000 people into employment in my lifetime. I've won two awards. I've managed 2 youth clubs, which regularly saw like 40 odd kids in each one every night. I've worked in semi-independent care homes of kids who are going in to live, independently, but still need a kind of key worker and stuff. So yeah, that for me, just having an impact on the society and surroundings. I always joke and say like they should make a statue of me when I die, innit? But again, isn't that like any kind of man's secret like desire, like to be kind of not idolized, but looked at in that way, like this guy has done such great things that we're going to honor him forever kind of thing. I feel like it's not impossible for a lot of people to do that within their communities. And there's still a lot of great people that we talk about, in history from who's done a lot for their communities. And I think nowadays, not a lot of people still want to be that guy anymore. Not a lot of people still think about that past. So I think, when it's all said and done, I think I just want to be, just know that I've given a lot. I've given more than I've taken, basically.
Since your battery's dying, we've got to let you go. But before we let you go, where can people find you? Where can people support you? And is there anything that you want people to be like, right, drop what the fuck you're in the middle of, write this down, pay attention to it when it drops or when it's happening?
At Real Rapper Hulk on all the social media platforms. Professor Banner is the music name. So if you search Professor Banner on Spotify, Apple Music and all of that stuff, you'll find me. The reason is because if you type Hulk, you'll see a million Hulks. If you type Professor Banner, I'm most likely going to pop up as the first result. So again, it was more of a strategic thing. Came out on the 1st of August featuring Shotty Horror and Bobby Rex. We'll do a part 2 when I'm at home and I've got full battery and more time.